Hi, I'm Beth and I'm the creator of drier.com. I share with you what I've learned about dehydrating and canning food, and I also create recipes for canning food or using dehydrated food. So be sure to check out my website to get all my latest recipes. Today I want to work on a dehydrated apple peanut butter granola bar that I put together. I've made this before, I really like it. It's not a super sticky granola bar, it's a drier granola bar, but doesn't have any added sugar, though it does have honey for a sweetener. So I want to show you how I make that. So I start with 2 cups of rolled oats. I like to use the quick 1-minute oats for this. And then to that, I add a mixture of honey and peanut butter and coconut oil. And I mix these all together primarily in the jar just because it was easier than having you watch me sit and try and measure all of those things individually. I also added about a teaspoon of cinnamon to that. Now, if you don't have coconut oil, you definitely could use olive oil. Just make sure it's not a real strong tasting olive oil, but that would be a good substitute. Then what I do is I add about a 1/2 cup of dehydrated apples. They're really easy to dehydrate. They keep really well. I keep them in a vacuum sealed jar. I happen to have about a 1/2 cup left over that I just want to use up. So I put those in there. And then I'll use about a 1/2 cup or so, or 1/4 cup I would say maybe, of pumpkin seed and sliced almonds. So I'll just sprinkle some of those in there, like so. Add those, doesn't have to be exact. If you have a different kind of nut that you want to use that. If you want to add dried cranberries, chocolate chips, go ahead and do that. The one thing I'm doing a little bit differently this time is when I peel my apples, and I don't always peel them when I'm dehydrating them, but sometimes for some recipes I want a skinned apple. But I save the skins and I dehydrate those and then I powder them. And I'm actually going to add that this time just for a little bit more apple flavor. Wow. Really nice apple smell. So there's probably, I would say, about a tablespoon of powdered apples, dehydrated apple skins. I just take my skins, I throw them in the dehydrator when I'm running the dehydrator. When they're dry, I put them in a grinder and grind them up, and I have dehydrated apple powder. Great for flavoring a lot of things. Really good for oatmeal or for smoothies in the morning. So I'm basically going to take these things and I'm going to mix them up. You certainly can mix them up by hand. I'm going to use a blender just because it's sticky. When I get all that mixed up, I'll be back and I'll show you what my next steps are. All right, so my mixture is mixed up. Just takes a couple minutes in a mixer. You can kind of see that it is all mixed up there. And then I put it in a 9x9 pan, and I like to line my pans with parchment paper. I do that for 2 reasons. Number one, I can just lift it off afterwards and it's nice and easy to cut. I also just don't want the extra oil or grease in the recipe. But you can definitely, spray your pan with Pam, use some of the coconut oil or even your olive oil to line your pan if you want to do that. And then you just want to take a spatula and push this down. My oven is preheating at 350 degrees, and I'm going to bake this for about 15 or 20 minutes, just until it gets a little bit golden brown on top. Obviously, everybody's oven is a little bit different, so yours might be a little bit shorter, might be a little bit longer, but that's kind of what works for me. So press this down so that basically it's put together, so that it's fairly firm, but not so tight that you can't move it at all. So just like so. And that's pretty much what it's going to look like, pretty much before and after, other than that it'll be a nice golden brown on top when it's cooked. Just try and make sure that your corners are even and that your edges are even, and this really is such a simple recipe and so healthy. So I'm going to put this in the oven. I'm going to bake it. I'll be back after it's baked and cooled. All right, so I've got the apple cinnamon peanut butter granola bars out of the oven. They're golden brown. The pan is mostly cool, but still slightly warm. Because I'm using parchment paper, I can just lift these up and put them right onto my cutting board. And then I'm going to slide those off onto the cutting board. And I like to cut mine into strips. You can kind of see that they're not real thick, but they work out really, really well. I like to, I like to eat them is what I like to do, but what I do is you can store these in an airtight container for about a week, either on your counter or on your refrigerator. They can also be frozen. They last longer than a week, but you can just cut them into whatever shape you like. I like to kind of cut them into strips, like so, and then cut them into pieces. And this one's falling apart a little bit, but you get a sense of what it looks like, and it smells amazing. I should have taken a smaller bite. They're really good. You can taste the peanut butter, you can taste the apple. They're a healthy snack. They're great for lunch boxes, for kids. These are falling apart a little bit more than they usually do. And I think because what I did is I used the coconut oil. It's a cooler day and it was solid. And I did forget to melt that first. And when you use the coconut oil, you should melt that first. So mine are falling apart a little bit more than they typically do. But that's not a problem because A, they're really good, and B, I can always break them up and use them like a granola on yogurt or ice cream or, you know, cereal for that matter. So anyway, give this recipe a try. If you like the recipe, if you want to see more recipes, please sign up for a subscriber below or hit the thumbs up, give me a thumbs up. The recipe will be on the link below, or go to drier.com. And under the blog, you'll find my recipe. Just kind of look for granola bars, search, you'll be able to find it. Until next time, thanks for watching.